morning, and thank you for inviting me to talk about Front Row today. Front Row is an online program that provides standards-based differentiated practice in language arts in math. It is engaging for the student and adapts to their level as they practice and grow. It also gives teachers a great deal of information. My name is Linda Ulisite. I've been teaching for 20 years, grades 4 through 8. Front Row has been part of my 6th grade program for the past 2 years. I'm going to show you what I love about it, and I'm going to leave you with ideas you can implement in your own classroom tomorrow. Make sure you ask a lot of questions so I can cover the parts most important to you. Let's get started. This is what the students see when they log on. We'll talk more about the pigs, the coins, and the store later. Let's start with language arts. Like math, the articles and the word study adapt to the student's level. Therefore, they require a pretest like the math domains. When you begin using Front Row, make sure you allow for time to have the students take the pretests. If your class is at all like mine, you have students reading at a wide range of abilities. In my 6th grade class, I have students reading from 2nd grade to high school. How in the world can I be expected to find something they can all read and discuss, especially nonfiction? Guess what? Front Row's articles present the same information no matter what level. You can have students read the article at several different levels and still be able to discuss it. How powerful to give that struggling reader the information needed to keep up with a discussion. Click on Articles. Front Row offers hundreds of nonfiction articles on a wide variety of subjects. Every student is presented with a version of the articles at their own reading level. Let's pick pizza, that sounds good. Before reading the article, students are front-loaded with a few vocabulary words. They read the definition and they fill this out. Many societies have their own traditions. Okay. Next. This one has 3, sometimes they have 4, but there's always just a few. The articles have full-color pictures and multiple-choice questions. My 6th graders get 6 multiple-choice questions, but the number varies by grade level, by the importance of the article. Word study is a systematic student-directed approach to phonics, vocabulary, and spelling instruction. You can assign it for centers, daily spelling activity, or homework. Each session consists of 6 activities for about 15 to 20 minutes. Sessions include skill review as well as sorts. Students sort pictures and written words into categories. The session also includes blind sorts, where students sort words by listening rather than seeing. Do you have certain students that struggle with certain vowel sounds? I know I have several students who speak a language other than English. It's helpful for them to hear the words spoken. Students can also have the directions read to them up here, these directions. Okay, start practicing. So here they're listening to the words and they can have this read to them. That pretty much covers the student page, so let's go look at the teacher page. So why might you assign nonfiction articles in your classroom? Why would that be something you would want to do? Okay, you can use it to supplement your science and social studies instruction, or even provide nonfiction background for a class novel. There are also articles for holidays and timely events like elections. Let's choose one. You see the actual article when you're assigning it. You see the actual article, the vocabulary that will be front-loaded to the student, and the writing prompt that you can choose to assign. You can select the different reading levels so that you can read the article in different spots. For example, in this one, the early reader one starts out with pandas are amazing animals. You can see that there's more pictures, and there's opportunity for them to listen to the sentence read to them. The third grade level starts out with tigers, leopards, pandas, and whales are amazing animals. At the seventh grade level, tigers, snow leopards, giant pandas, and blue whales are all fascinating animals. So you can see it's the same content at different levels. When you assign the article, this page shows you the level that Front Row will assign to each of your students. You can choose not to assign the vocabulary or the writing if you like. When might you want to have the writing or not have the writing? What would make that? Okay, you can also manually change the reading level, make it harder or easier. So for example, I can go down to a student that has a low reading level and make it harder, or I can make it easier for a student that has a high reading level. When might you want to manually change the recommended level? Okay, I know nonfiction is generally harder for students than fiction. If it's a tough concept, or if we are going to be analyzing the article, I might assign them a lower level text. Some students might need to be challenged occasionally by a higher level of text. Let's go back to the Assign ELA page. Okay, so one thing that we can do besides articles, we can assign benchmarks, just like in math. Remember that benchmarks and pretests are different. The pretests allow Front Row to offer practice at differentiated levels. The benchmarks are assigned by the teacher to assess class progress towards standards. You can choose a grade level, and you can assign which student or students that you want to assess. So when might you want to assess just a small group of students and not all the students? Okay, so maybe you've pulled a group for remedial instruction and you want to assess a small group. Or maybe you have a group that's been working independently and you want to check their progress. So when you choose the grade level, you have 5 assessments to choose from. Some teachers like to give the same assessments 2 or 3 times a year in order to track student growth more accurately. Others like to use different assessments. The choice is yours. One important note, since the benchmarks test progress toward language arts standards, students will read fiction on these assignments. It's the only place on Front Row where they will see fiction reading. Of course, when you assign benchmarks, the purpose is to see how the students did. So let's go over here to language arts and look at the assessments. This is the one that I gave my students in October. So this gives you the overall class percentage correct and each student's percentage correct. This was done in late October near the end of the first grading period. You can also click on a student detail report that will show performance by ELA domain, fiction, grammar, nonfiction, vocabulary. On each category, you can see how the student answered that question. It's an article and it tells you how they answered and what they got right or wrong. How might you use this data in your class? How might you use it to drive your instruction going forward? Okay, are there any other questions about language arts before we move on to social studies? Okay, the newest addition to Front Row are the social studies units. These will show up on the student page as assignments. Let's take a look. Currently, there are 11 units available. The titles are here. Which of these relate to your curriculum or sound interesting as a possible enhancement? In 6th grade, we touched ancient civilizations, so this is one that I have done with my students. Let's preview the unit to see how I might replace or enhance the unit that I currently teach. This unit includes 6 lessons. Each lesson has videos, student handouts, articles, and activities for you to select from. I choose one article from this first lesson. The first lesson I chose the geography of ancient Greece. But for lesson 2, I assigned each group a different article and then had them share out. At the end of the unit, Front Row provides essay prompts, a unit exam, and a final project so the teacher can choose exactly how student-driven the unit will be. Are there any questions about social studies?